Hello there, YouTubers. It's the 21st of April, 2025, and welcome to another video. Welcome to another filming session, aka. So, as you can see, I am wearing my glasses, and yes, I did quite properly brushed my teeth and took a shower and did a bit of work online, including but are not limited to replying to some emails and blah blah blah, and so yeah, which should send you a somewhat clear message that I don't find myself so depressed, at least for today. Well, at least to the extent that I struggle getting up from bed. Though I still didn't quite bother to trim or shave my fairly messy looking beard and facial hairs, blah blah blah. But in any regards, yeah, I just like during this filming session, I just like to talk more about the recent developments I've had with that wicked woman slash my allegedly my birth mother, who never ceases to harass and persecute me from time to time, and I suspect that my the premature demise of my old man occurred as a direct result of her negligence, neglect, and inadequate care, maybe even murder. And since I wasn't there, I wasn't present at the death scene, so I may never know the whole truth as to what actually happened there. And it was quite some time ago, that tragic event occurred nearly 6 years ago. Well, to be more accurate and precise, about 6.5 years. No, I beg your pardon. No, 5.5 years ago. So, there might be, which means there might be some, false memories or even hallucinations as a result of a prolonged period of trauma existing in my head, on my mind, throughout my whole body and mind or soul duality and blah blah blah. Yes, though I do not really consider myself in a place or position in making such a straightforward or accurate judgment or diagnosis about even my own mental state or thought patterns. So yeah, but I just like to give you guys fairly brief, fairly concise, and quick rundown of what I perceive that have happened so far to me and to my already shattered and largely desolate and utterly destroyed family here in Asia, in China. And I am still carrying, loads of burdens and hardships and afflictions, largely on my own. And I pretty much have, nobody to, to speak to, to talk with about, my own, struggles and emotions. Therefore, I have, YouTube has pretty much become my only place, my soul place in which I can pretty much, freely, fairly speaking, generally speaking, rent and vent freely as an, outlet or something like that, something similar. And yes, I was kind of well I kind of received request from you guys, from one of you guys, to to give you guys more details, more specifics, aka to make a to keep you guys posted on the developments. So yeah, here I am, and all things considered, maybe I should adjust the light a little bit. So yeah, so all things considered, yes, I have pretty much had enough of days and nights where I just spend most of my precious time in panic, horror, anxieties, severe depressions, and loads of uncertainties and fear. So I kind of tentatively decided to restart or reinstate, maybe another attempt of negotiation with that wicked woman. Though nowadays I don't really acknowledge that she is still my mother. I just call my one of my closest aunts, who oftentimes look takes care of me by helping me clean you know clean cleaning my my flat, the rooms, and sometimes she brings me some fruits and snacks, even meals she cooked or she bought, whichever. Yes, she finds it more convenient. So yes, so long story short, yes, she has done a large, you know, a large, I won't say that much of decisive role, but yes, she certainly, played a highly vital role in um, um, sustaining and prolonging my life thus far. And well, aside from my grandma, aside from my grandma's love and care, though, she's no longer here. She has become history by kicking her bucket in in late year 2022, following my old man's premature demise in mid-year 2019, just about 3 years after. So, which certainly, did a crippling blow, both to my, well, both first to my mental health and also physical health. Though my physical health um, isn't um, well as uh, adversely affected as my mental health overall, but certainly, the grief, the bereavement, the pain, you know, has certainly more or less rendered me a walking dead, a walking zombie, or a piece of wreck, like I was during the period of time, when I pretty much went homeless or in a state of exile. In you know Beginning from, yes, from November year 2019 until about the end of July in year 2020, nearly a year. Um, you know, so yeah, but before that, yes, I went to a trip to Japan, mainly in Kyushu Island, then to Hokkaido, and yes, well, to be more specific, mainly in Fukuoka, Kita Kyushu, and then Sapporo, and then went back to Fukuoka, and then blah blah blah, and then came back here, you know. But yeah, I will spare you, the details, about such trip, for those who wish, who all feel interested in knowing more. Feel free to scroll down and check out my previous, not exactly my previous, but my older videos that was filmed back then. Yeah, so yeah, so I pretty much made. I didn't really, well, actually I did plan to make this video part of, both my reality and you guys' reality, or the physical slash tangible part of the matrix overall speaking. Um, but I beg your pardon for the background noise, but yeah, it's it occurs fairly regularly during this timing, at least twice each day. afternoon, but sometimes it can, fluctuate or oscillate here and there more or less. But yeah, I hope you guys don't mind. But yeah, so I still, I'm still not sure when exactly I will be meeting with that wicked woman again. For maybe, yeah, for the third or the fourth time. I beg your pardon. I assume if my already highly compromised or undermined ability of memories still serves. But I this time I may be very much likely. I may have to, do so alone without, the accompanying of my adopted mom or my adopted old man slash one of my uncles, whom I consider the closest and the most trustworthy in my books. So, I may, there are, I suppose, there are loads of, preparatory work or sort of, preliminary and careful and intricate planning to be made beforehand. And I don't find myself in an adequate shape, to actually go there all alone. So I may have to call some other, say, backups, maybe, from one of my adopted 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 siblings, slash my eldest first um, cousins, as my big brother, my eldest brother, my eldest adopted brother. So, but yeah, but I do know that I do know, and I do understand, more than anything else that things just don't add up. You know, judging by what she said, I mean that what that wicked woman said in the emails that she kept saying, she kept, well, at least so it seems to me that she keeps putting on the act, the pretense or pretense or facade of love and care, blah blah blah, saying that something like, oh my God, I love you the most, you are my only child, you are my only son, blood is thicker than water, and I will she says she keeps saying that she will do everything in her power to preserve and defend my old man's inheritances and legacies, from against foreign invasions, blah blah blah. I'm all fed up with her her crappy trash talks and lies and deceptions. You know, I'm sure you guys will understand. If you are in my shoes, or in case you guys suffered from or experienced highly similar, if not completely identical, troubles or afflictions or even abuse as a result of a bully or an abusive or even psychotic close or immediate family, say your highly narcissistic parent or your both of your highly narcissistic or abusive controlling parents, blah blah blah, and I don't really know that if if you guys who come from Britain, namely the southern part, the southern part of England, well, more specifically, you Londoners, particularly, who tend to, follow, the so-called, um, colloquially known as the posh accent, slash, the received pronunciation, would say pretense or pretense, I don't really know. I can't be 100% sure, so I may have mistaken big time. So please feel free to correct or rectify my my misunderstandings and mispronunciations. I always remain keen to learn. So yeah, please. I humbly ask for your confirmation and affirmations, if not straightforward corrections or rectifications, in case I got it wrong, So yeah, well, whether I should say pretense or pretense, in terms of posh accent, aka the general London, the general Londoner's accent, or the received pronunciation, RP, or slash the BBC one, the BBC, yeah, or the Queen's accent, yeah. So please feel free to to let me know. But yeah, yes, back to the main. Yeah, I beg your pardon for getting a bit of sidetrack, but get back to the main topic for this filming session. Yeah, so basically, according to my my own cruel instinct, I just know it that something just doesn't add up. Yet I just have to keep giving it a try, since I just have had enough of my current state of misery and great afflictions, and just regurgitating the regurgitation of getting back and forth from a highly depressed mental state to slightly or just mild or moderate state of depression and anxiety, just and I've already got so fed up with having to get stranded here at my grandma's flat for so long, for nearly um yeah, 4.5 years, since due to largely due to the the what lockdown measures, plus its aftermath, its aftermath or aftermath aftermath. Um, um, and then plus my own weaknesses and vulnerabilities and existing you know mental disorders, including but are not limited to severe depression and anxiety and OCDs, all combined, blah blah blah, and its associated complications. So I just I got so fed up with having to get stranded here for nearly half a decade, and I know it will only lead to nowhere but a place of further destitution and desolation and loneliness. I must find a way, one way or another, to break free from my sorry state sooner or later. And I have done quite a lot, loads of deep thinking and deep learning and deep planning slash the um, preparations and preliminary work beforehand, just to make sure that I don't mess up. Unlike my those days where when I was still a student, when I was still a student, a uni student, majoring in chemical engineering, though I had to kind of drop out due to loads of complications and blah blah blah. I will spare again out to in order to keep this video as brief and as concise as possible. I will skip those irrelevant those details that I consider to be rather irrelevant. But yeah, um, but in order to make sure that I at least succeed in changing my life for the better and get a head start in my in my in the following years of my 30s and thereafter. I must make sure that I I fortify my presence, my or I should say my old man's and grandma's is establishments here, including but are not limited to this flat, and there are also many other places of flats or residences. I have to kind of make arrangements to find someone trustworthy to look after and do the maintenance work fairly regularly, if not intermittently. So it's all once all adds up, and once all adding up and stacked up, it surely they surely together become a huge chunk of headaches and migraines. So yeah, so I must make sure that they are at least largely taken care of in advance as much as possible. So and yeah, but I know that I like I said the root cause of all these shit storms, all these shite storms, attribute to largely, or I should say largely, attribute to her, to that wicked woman who allegedly popped me out. Though I kind of have, you know, um, I kind of, I won't say always have had such sort of suspicion. Um, Nevertheless, I suspect, I kind of, here and there carry such suspicion that, and a British woman gave birth to me, somehow, sometime back then when my old man was doing business in Great Britain. Um, so, which might, kind of, explains explain, my sort of, inherent or intrinsic interest and intrinsic interest in and affinity towards British culture and accent, particularly RRP or posh. So, but yeah, still, I just have such suspicion that um, I she did not give birth to me, but instead she's just a step mother, and that's why I received so little loving care that is due, well, as far as I perceive and imagine, from her. So I just don't know, but yeah, my birth is. I consider, nowadays I just consider my birth such a mistake. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I've already also fed up with life. I pretty much want euthanasia. Or I should say, I need a painless, dignified, and swift death. If God willing, I would like my departure from planet Earth to be like that, to be at least something close to that, if not completely identical to my wishes. You know, um, I beg your pardon, but yes, no matter what, the damage is done, and I see so little hope in in making a full recovery from it, and I'm merely doing what I perceive I can to get back on my feet, see how far I can go, see how far I can reach, see if I can somehow manage to reach the Western Hemisphere, namely, Belgium, Switzerland, Great Britain, Spain, Portugal, blah blah blah. But I highly doubt that. Still, I will see and do what I know that is the best I can to achieve that. And yes, one of the most important, or I should say, the most indispensable links or process to make sure that becomes part of my reality is to kind of go sort of to play the role of a gold digger, to try to dig up some gold, to try to extract some funds, some money from that wicked woman who seized, pretty much all assets of my old man's, again, under the, the facade, the cover, the pretense of love and marriage. Um, I beg your pardon. Yes, and you know, I just know that I have pretty much, come quite close to my breaking point. If I do not resolve this huge migraine, this huge tumor, this huge headache, I may, I may just very much likely die in in excruciating pain and misery and extreme level of loneliness and sorrow and destitution sooner or later. Which means, I suppose at least, which I imagine at least I must, try to, play the role of a gold digger as a man, as a dude, though I don't really, consider such a thing as something honorable or praiseworthy or, to do. But, I more or less have to do so. Since, I've only got, a few thousand Australian dollars in savings and a bit of, some stamps collections of, left by my old man, which I still, struggle to capitalize on, slash to still struggle to convert into, cash or, exchangeable, immediately exchangeable assets. So, and yeah, so, and yes, I suppose, I should conclude this filming session since I perceive that I have talked enough at this point. Though, yes, there are some other, sorts of matters, some other topics I kind of feel like talking more about, such as, is how to establish and strengthen trust by reciprocations and, by building rapport and fostering or cultivating, closed loop of virtuous cycles, that sort of thing. But I suppose I will have to leave them, to my next video. So, so yeah, stay tuned, and I've also, got some other sorts of work, say making more, trying to acquire and secure, more clients. Well, namely, by making a bit, some more code calls and some work of digital marketing and, plus some Facebook marketing. Yeah, so I still have plenty of work to do, still have plenty of businesses to attend to. So yeah, but nevertheless, thank you very much. well, I just still struggle, to say so in a highly British, highly posh manner when I say thank you. It kind of bugs me, but nevertheless, thank you very much for watching and listening to the end of this filming session, and please stay tuned for my next videos. And if that doesn't cost you a lot of strength or energy or electricity, please consider smashing that like button and subscribing to my channel, and and better yet, let me know what your thoughts, what you think of my current status quo, and what you guys reckon I should or I must be doing in order to resolve this, once in order to in order to completely eradicate or exterminate, neutralize such headache, such piece of shite, once and for all. Once and for all. So, yeah. Thank you again, and take care, and go take care of business and stay out of trouble. And if God's still willing, I'll see you guys. I shall see you guys again on YouTube, BitChute, wrongbow.com, Patreon, etc. So now go take care of business and stay out of trouble. Thank you again. Bye. Cheers.